Welcome to another episode. I am so excited to have Reshma here with me, who's going to be sharing her story and her journey of her daughter, Maya, and all of the moments that they've gone through. Welcome, Reshma. Thank you for coming here, and it's great to be chatting with you today. So let's chat about your daughter, Maya. She's 9 years old.
Yes.
She is going to ABA.
Yeah.
Regularly, right?
She's in full-time IBI program at Kalis.
Amazing. And she's getting ready to go to overnight camp. This is just a huge milestone for any child. This is
And parent.
And parent, yes, very good. That's so true. Absolutely. So how is she doing right now? What are some of the highlights in terms of what she's learning, what she's accomplished, where she is right now in her journey?
She's come a long way. So she's learning to communicate with her device, and she's becoming bossier by the day. The requests are increasing.
Yeah.
She's still a happy child, always smiling, laughing, giggling, and being present, and very active, wants to swim. So she's doing well. Like, she's come a long way, and I'm very happy with where she's at right now.
Amazing. She has her own little personality.
She does.
She's her own Maya. Right?
She is, so is.
Yeah,
Everybody
I
knows
love
that.
it. I love that she's bossy, she's communicating. I mean, she's what a 9-year-old girl should be doing.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Without the words,
Yeah.
she still bosses everyone around and gets everything that she needs.
Yeah.
She's also achieved a lot of other things.
Yes.
And her skills, like the math skills that she shows, all of those things are improving every day. But yes, she's very special.
Yeah, that's amazing. That is incredible.
Too.
So let's roll it back a little bit and talk about how this all started. I mean, incredible where she's gotten, but I would love for people to hear how she got there, how you got there as mom. So, starting from the time that she was little and maybe, the journey to diagnosis, what did that look like for Maya? What did that look like for you?
So that's really back.
Yeah.
Way back. It was around 7 months. When she was around 7 months, I started noticing that she wasn't meeting a lot of her milestones.
Mm-hmm.
And the developmental pediatrician that I started to see was also, seeing some markers that she was like, okay, let's keep a tab on this. And we started doing early diagnosis.
Mm-hmm.
By the time she was one year plus, we started going to assessments, and we got a global developmental delay assessment.
Yeah.
Which was they just give it to any, it's like an umbrella term for any developmental delay, right? So we got that, and then I started noticing a lot of markers that I'm like, okay, I think this falls under autism,
Yes.
And I didn't have a lot of knowledge at that point of time. I knew some things, but not enough to be okay, for sure she falls on the spectrum. And we had to wait a long time before the doctor was like, okay, now we can do the assessment. She's
Mm-hmm.
ready to do the assessment. So by the time she was, I think, 2 years, 4 months or so, I knew what was coming, and I knew that she would fall on the spectrum. I knew she was already on the spectrum. I knew the diagnosis would be autism, but you're never prepared, because all of a sudden your path changes, and you have different steps that you go through, where you're denying and then acceptance, or sadness and happiness, like the guilt because you're feeling sad, all of that. But then you tell yourself there is a reason, you're sad because your path is suddenly changed. You had all these dreams and hopes and all of that. You have to be sad that that's not going to happen, but there's another path opened up, and it takes a while to go from the sadness to being, okay, it's fine. Now that we have the diagnosis, we can do something with it. We can help her better. And once you get there, our whole family was a lot more relaxed. There was relief and, optimistic about what can we do, how can we help her, and all of that. So that was our path.
Yeah.
New things to learn,
Absolutely. Yeah. I think what you said was really profound, that you said that the sad, that you felt almost guilty for being sad, right? And then, but you got to a point to understand that that's part of the journey. It's really important for families to hear that, because I hear from parents sometimes that,
so many parents
you know,
say
they're
that,
struggling with that, and that almost like it's like wrong. But
it can be. You're crying about, you know, some of your dreams being, you know, cut off at that point of time, but that's okay. You can make new dreams, but you can't say you can be sad about something ending, you know. If something ended, that's fine.
You're human. You can't deny
Put
your
yourself
emotions
together afterwards, but let it go. At some point you have to let the I feel like it was almost better for my family to be sad and depressed and go through the negative emotions and then put it to bed and then go to the next stage, you know. So
amazing. Another thing you said is that you noticed at 7 months. That's
7
early.
months. Yes,
Very astute of you. What were some of, just for people who are watching, right? I think it's important for them to hear. What were some of the things? And of course, it's different. I think it's really important to emphasize it's a spectrum, and that's it's part of our shows. Is we really want to showcase that and have people hear the different stories. But in your experience with Maya, what were some of the things that you thought, okay, you know, I'm concerned and I want to bring this forward and get Maya the help that she needs to get?
So I think early on was her like hyper focused on few things and not paying attention to like the people around. Like if somebody would come to the crib or be around, she would like completely ignore the person. Like even if I called her name or made sound, she would just ignore me. But there were certain things that she would just like obsess about. Like if there was a toy, that was the only toy. Like she would pick a toy and not look at anything else. And I knew that, you know, usually babies, I had volunteered in a daycare center in my school before, and you know, even when I went into college, I took like home science where, you know, you got to spend time with little kids. And then I knew that you could be more than one, you could be interested in more than one toy, but she was just hyper focused. So I was like, okay, a little weird, so maybe your doctor will tell me, you know. So it's just a little off than normal, like, you know. So and I'm like, okay, that's fine, but let's go to a doctor and see what happens. So just a few things that you just notice are not, you know, and the milestones in terms of like eye contact and watching you, all of those things were not there. So
I think that's first of all, very astute of you to notice those things. I don't think you know, for especially first-time mom, you don't know what to expect, right? But some of your other experiences may have led to you to go, okay, something's not, you know. The other thing is like that you noticed. I think it's important for people to hear that it's not just the vocal communication, that there are some other pieces here, right? In terms of, you mentioned like the hyper focused on certain toys or eye contact or stuff, things like that. So there are other signs that if parents are concerned, want to encourage people to like just explore it. It doesn't necessarily mean ASD, but it means like it's worth exploring, right?
It could mean nothing.
It could mean nothing, absolutely.
So like no harm in just going down the path of exploring it and seeing if there is something there. If there's nothing, move on.
So you notice these things. What was the path to actually getting the diagnosis? Because I hear different stories, from families.
So hard because first you have to convince yourself that you need to go down that path, and then you have to convince your family that, okay, I am concerned. And once everybody's on board, then you have to wait the correct amount of time for the diagnosis. It's not at 1.5 unless they see like really clear signs, they will not go through the diagnosis. So it was just like a delay in her. So speech delay and, you know, motor skills delay and all of those things. They just put that under the term, you know, global developmental delay. We had to like travel to a different city to even get that diagnosis. And we were living in India at that point of time. And then around 2 is when we moved to Canada. And even before I came, I did my research and found a developmental pediatrician and put her in the queue already. So
wow, mom extraordinaire.
it was quite interesting. So once we came, because there was like an 8-month wait time to see the developmental pediatrician, once we moved here, within 3 months, we were able to see her because she had already been on the queue for 5 months or so. So that worked well for us. That was one thing that I think I did like to perfection. That was the only thing. Other things I just do as I learn,
Yeah.
So and then we got through her, and she wouldn't do the assessment. She would just see her and say, okay, I think she qualifies for an assessment. And then I learned that you have to wait another year if you want to do like the actual assessment, which takes multiple days or multiple hours to do. Gosh. So we just decided to do it privately. So we paid to a private center and got the whole assessment done. And then we got her on the OAP waitlist. Yes. So it was waitlist after waitlist. And in the meantime, we did do speech therapy, and some ABA, a few hours here and there, because it is expensive. It is so expensive, but it did help her in a lot of ways. We did a lot of occupational therapy because she did not have really good core strength, and it helped. Like we found magically. Not magically, I shouldn't say that. For ABA, we did keep changing centers. We tried like 5 centers before we settled on the final one.
Yes.
So, but occupational therapy, we got an amazing person. For speech therapy, we got an excellent person. So it's just, I think it's trial and error, right? So, and what works for one kid might not work for another child. So we just had to keep trying, and it worked. Like she got progressively, like she picked up things fast, and
I'm sure that developmental pediatrician would be so love to be wrong about
I know.
Because
I mean
they're just doing an assessment, that snapshot in time, and the best thing to see is that was just a snapshot, that was only the beginning of the journey, right? All really because of so many things that you've done, the research, the resourcefulness.
There's so many people in the community, like all of our therapists, the hard work is so visible, like how loving they are and how much they put into her. It shows in her, and she's just always smiling, always, has this warm smile on her, and that's just her surrounding. She's picking up from the people around her, so I love it.
That's amazing. You immigrated from India. You coming to a new country, you're concerned about your child's development, you're getting a diagnosis, and you're going into treatment all at the same time. And here, Reshma, you're talking amazingly about your daughter's experience. What about your mom experience during all of this and going through this?
It roller coaster, ups and downs. Thankfully, for the last 3-4 years, it's been okay. But again, you're always fighting for your child. It's just gonna keep happening. Like you want resources for your child. There's a lot of things that your child needs, and you can't like actually provide all of them. So you need resources from the government. You're fighting them. You're doing so much outside of that. It affects you. Like I've gone through all of my emotions in like being sad, being depressed, and getting some help for that, and then getting over that, and then right now, in the last maybe 3 years or so, I've been in the most level, peaceful place thanks to seeing her, how far she has come. So
I hear that from a lot of parents that it's really, once you get to that sweet spot where you say, okay, my child is in a good place. Yes, they still need to learn and grow, right?
Sure.
But there's they're in a place where I know they're in the right place to do that, right? Of course, that's going to evolve, right? Different people will come in and out of the child's life depending on what they need. But now you feel you're on a path, right? This is what's working for you and for Maya as well. So in those moments when it was the roller coaster, right? What strength did you draw upon to get through that? How did you keep moving forward, get up, keep moving? Maybe sometimes you didn't get up, and that's okay too, right? But at some point you did. You pull yourself together and you do whatever. For you, what empowered you to do that?
It was always her. It was just looking at her, and she has so many challenges, and I would love to see the world through her eyes. I can't, but I know that everything must be so overwhelming for her. But she, even if things change, she just gets over it and starts smiling and laughing and fighting and being there. And I think it's her. Like, she's got so much strength for a little child. How can I not? How can I not get up and do more? That's I think she's my strength.
So beautiful. That's really profound. From a different perspective as a clinician and professional, I often feel that way too for the kids that I see. I think, wow, like what it takes for that little girl, that little boy to learn toilet training, right? To go to the bathroom independently, or what it took for them to learn to have to wait for something they want so badly, just for a couple minutes, right? And I watch them, learn those things and practice it, and then and they're my inspiration, because I think if this child can do this, and they're 4, 5, 6, however years old, and they're there, and then they come in with a smile on their face, and they're okay, let's do this, and I'm thinking, gosh, like I can do anything. Right?
Exactly,
tough times, whatever, mortgage rates going up, this, that, and here we have these incredible kids who are.
They have so many challenges.
They just keep going with this. And she sounds like she's bubbly personality with her smile and
Like people who just like, there was a therapist when she went to a camp, a new therapist, and they had this like binder that they would send back and forth just to say what she did at the school.
Yeah.
And this therapist wrote, "What a beautiful soul." And I'm sitting in the car before driving, and I'm just like, oh, what did they write today? And I look at it, and I'm like, okay, I can't drive now. I gotta sit here and cry for like 5 minutes, because that is how I see her. But I don't know if everyone else can see that. And when somebody new just says that, and I'm like, yeah, she's a beautiful soul,
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, that's incredible.
Yeah.
So you mentioned that you, like, in terms of finding the right fit for Maya and for your family, you've gone through like a process there. How do you know, as mom, what's going to work for your daughter in terms of the professionals that come in to her life? How do you determine that? I mean, obviously there's like the expertise piece. Okay, yeah, there's the credentials, I always feel like that's minimum standard, right?
Yeah.
But there's something beyond that. What was that for you? How did you maneuver through that to find that
I think it was
right
the
fit?
connections, like just seeing how the person connected with her and how she responded to the person. That always gave me an immediate insight if it's gonna work or not.
Yeah.
And even though Maya is pretty like selective with people, I think she picks on energy right away. So if she responds, like if she's crying and making, having a meltdown or does not want to go to someone, I know that this is not going to work. And she's my cue. And I can also like see, right? Like I can see that within a week she's progressed, or within a week this person is telling me what my child is like. I know what my child is like, but if you are able to notice that too in a week, then I know that you have paid attention to my child. And if you don't know anything and I have to keep telling you what she likes, what she doesn't like, what are the triggers, all of these things, if you can pick up in a week, then maybe that's not the right fit.
It's not right fit.
Yeah.
What you said is, I think, really important for parents to understand, even like early on in the journey. There's just, from what I hear from talking to different families, there's just so much so much comes at you, right? Diagnose, okay, now I got to do this, now I got to do that. There's just so much emotion, but also homework and research and this and that, and you're flooded with all of this stuff. And then how do you move forward? And I think some of it, yes, check off whatever boxes you need to check off, but there's an instinct, right?
For sure.
And parents, moms, dads, you got to trust that there's a gut.
That feeling,
There's that's your radar right there,
100%.
right? Yeah.
I 100% believe in that, because all of the places that I said, they were all really good places. And even now, if I wanted to tell someone, I would not give negative feedback about the other 4 places that I tried, because they were all amazing. There was just no connection. There was no the magic, that wasn't happening. And so now we do. Now we have it, and we've stayed there for almost a year and a half, and it's perfect.
Fantastic. That's really great. So what are some of the key, let's start with what challenges, like maybe a highlight or two that Maya experienced that you thought, okay, we need to work through this? How did you get through that with her?
Like in terms of challenges, she like communication was a challenge for her. Toilet training, oh my god, that was a challenge for her. we tried and failed 4 times, 4 separate years, and then finally it came to a point. Okay, we're gonna do it really slowly. We're not gonna expect an overnight change, and we did it over like 6 to 8 months. Like it was a slow process, and we are almost there. It still hasn't ended. She's 9, and sometimes, like I used to, before when I was telling you about my roller coaster, when I was sad about a lot of things, I was really sad that I've tried so many times and failed, that I couldn't believe that I was failing. Like I was reading all this information and going to all these specialists, and it's still not working. So I was really sad about it. But then when we slowed down and said, you know what, it'll happen when it happens, you know, and we just like put it into slow motion, and she could pick up that energy that we're not stressed about this event, you know, and all of a sudden she's doing well. She's, you know, doing what she's supposed to do. She's learning how she's supposed to learn. So that was a challenge for us for sure. Just learning that, okay, she can pick up on our energy, so let's just slow it down, and no stress, no pressure. And it worked. So
I don't think there was any failures there. I think it's just, that's part of the learning process. Is sometimes the kids and families, you got to go through. You got to, okay, that didn't, we tried it that way. And in fact, the fact that you kept going is huge, right? It's not instantaneous, right? And every child, I personally, toilet training is like one of the things I get the most excited about as a clinician. Like, really? I'm like, no, really, like, I love toilet training kids. And why? To me, it's a game changer. Because in my career, I've also been able to visit places where adults with autism live and maybe never got any form of intervention when they were younger, or even throughout. It doesn't even have to be when they were younger, it doesn't matter, that aren't toilet trained. And I've seen the impact of that, right? And how it's an issue of quality of life. I think it's a human rights issue. I don't think there should be any individual with developmental disabilities that is not toilet trained. Albeit, as you mentioned, it can be a journey to get there, right? And there are strategies that can be effective for some children, and for others it needs tweaking or changing. And you do it one way, and okay, and it sucks and it doesn't work, and you know, like you said, it's a theme here. You know, you pick it up. Okay, now we're going to try it this way, and now you found that like sweet spot, and it's coming, right? It's coming, and that's huge. That's amazing to turn that into like, oh my gosh, is this ever going to happen, right? To keep going.
I think one of the things that I learned in that process with toilet training and taking so long was, I heard this word. It's a Maori word called taki watanga. Have you heard this word before?
No.
So it means in her own time, or in their own time.
So we talked about some challenges that we've worked through. Maya's learning toilet training. We've tried it multiple times. We're getting there. That's amazing. How about some, major successful milestones that you said, yes, like this is one that, prioritized, we set the goal. Yes, we've done it. What are successes, celebrations for your family?
That's a communication piece. She's nonverbal. She's not even like minimally verbal. She won't even say mama, so she's nonverbal. And just in the beginning, when she didn't have any tools to communicate, it used to come out in really, negative way. Like there was a lot of frustration, there was a lot of screaming and yelling, like not yelling, screaming and crying, and there was also like physical violence, like she used to try to grab or hit for attention, or even bite. Like there were a lot of things that wasn't going well because she had no way to express herself. There was no way to ask for things. There was no way to say anything. Like I can imagine, like when I'm unable to speak for some reason and I am so like mad and angry because I wasn't able to express myself, even though I have the words. I just wasn't able to find the right words, and I'm so mad.
Yeah.
So, like, naturally, she was just going through this really, really difficult phase. And we did try a lot of other ways. Like, we tried like sign language, and she did not pick up because she already had like gross motor delays, so she wasn't able to manipulate her fingers, like, so it was hard. But then we tried the PECS, the picture exchange communication system, and all of a sudden magic, like we just had to get her favorite pictures and put this in this binder, and she's just asking for things, and she would look for a binder all the time, and carry her binder and like keep it close because it's her words, like it's so precious. And she finally had her words, and it took almost a year and a half for us to get there. But when we got there, slowly we started seeing the frustration just dying out. Like there was no, like, you would still have meltdowns for other reasons, but at least for the communication part, she was getting to a stage where she was like, oh, okay, I want to say something, I'll find my binder. And then we moved from the binder to the device, and she has a Dynavox now, and she'll increase the volume if you don't hear it once.
I love it. Maya's my girl. That's, good for her.
So
she needs to be heard. This is important.
Yeah, so
amazing.
Even if I put it on the middle, like the volume is like halfway up there, and then she'll say something, I'm like, Maya, now is not the time or whatever, and then she'll increase the volume and say it again, and I'm like,
Mom, hello.
Wow.
Yeah, that's great.
So
these are good problems to have, like problems you wish you would have had, right, at the beginning of the journey. Like, I wish my daughter's bothering me to get my attention to communicate. This is amazing. This is exactly what she should be doing. Right?
Yeah. So
that's incredible.
There, and that was our like biggest achievement. Like when we got that figured out, and when she had her words, then like there's nothing bigger for us. Like that has been amazing.
Amazing. Yeah. It really empowers her, right?
For sure.
This is her voice.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Something that you said, I think is really important for people to hear, is that during that time where her communication was very limited, the frustrations and whatnot, it's not for no reason, right? This is not random. This is not like the child is trying to act out or anything like this. Is just, I can't even imagine. I actually often say what you said is like, just imagine not being able, if someone stopped me from communicating, I would be doing way worse. It would be going nuts. Like there's just no way. So, I mean, there is in our world, in ABA, we call it fancy word function. There's a reason, there's a root cause to the challenge. There always is, right? Often it's embedded in communication. And that's why it's such an important piece, I think, for all kids with ASD. It doesn't matter what they're able to, like they're in terms of their communication skills, where they're at. It is our job as a society. We have the tools now, whether or not they are verbal. It is our job to ensure that the kids have, and adults and teenagers and everybody in the community, that they have an ability to communicate. It's just, otherwise, I think it's criminal. Like, it's just, how can we deny this, right? So whether it's vocal or whether it's another device, I love PECS. I think PECS are, I'm a huge fan. It's a great starting point for many children. And it's that, like, just that light bulb, that connection, like, oh, like I can have power over my world. I can tell people things that I
can make things happen.
I can make things happen, right?
Yeah.
What are some, do you have any like memorable moments of like when she, okay, I've got this, I've got the picture, Mom, hello, I want this. Like, was there something that you're like, yes, okay, she gets it?
I think it was in the beginning. Like, I remember she was obsessed with Doritos. So we used Doritos for like her ABA program, like it was her reinforcement. So we had to reduce giving it at home because we were using it. We had to make it really, really like something that she wants
powerful,
to work
motivating.
For. So we had to kind of reduce, like giving her as a snack, giving it to her as a snack. And we had like moved on to other things, and she brought the Doritos back to me and gave it to me, and I'm like, no, Maya, I can't give it to you. I'm sorry. And this was like early stages of pets, and I'm like, you can't have this. I'll give you something else. So I gave her something else. I put that away, and then she looks at me, and then suddenly, like, I saw something change in her expression, and she looked like she ran back, and she was running around, and she found her bag, and she found the binder, and she brought the binder to me and took the picture and gave it to me, and I'm like, oh my God, that was the first time she ever even looked for the binder. Like, we used to sit at the table and give her the binder and then ask, make her ask me things. But this was her initiating it, like her thinking about it. She's like, okay, she didn't understand me giving her the bag. She didn't understand that. Maybe she'll understand this. And I'm like, take how much you want.
Let's go to the store. Gonna just buy you all the Doritos, every store. Mommy's driving around. Let's go. Listen, I'm investing in this company. It's just amazing. That's it. You can have everything you want now, Maya.
I cried. I called everyone that I know. I'm like, you won't believe what she just did.
Oh, that's amazing. It's not about the Doritos. I mean, that's the experience, but it's that she got it, right? She got the concept, the power that I can communicate. It's not just the world happening to me, but that I can bring things to the world, right?
Exactly,
And Mom, pay attention and there's a persistence there, right? Like, Mom, hello.
Keep going at it.
I know it's there. You're not going to take it away from me. That's like, she really got it, right?
In the past, she might have just gotten frustrated and said, oh my God, I gave you the bag. Why don't you get it? That's what I want. And then there might have been a meltdown and all of that. But then she's like, oh, there's another way I can ask for this. And
that's
you know, that light bulb, like that moment, I still remember her expression changing, and it softened. And then she went and looked for it and found the bag and took it out. And I was like, wow.
That's amazing. And so I think it's important, like, there has to be a starting point somewhere, right? Whatever it is that the child is interested in or is motivated by, whatever that might be, you've got to work with what you've got. And it's just a starting point, right? Exactly. And now she's using a full tech device, right?
Fully,
and she's asking for different things. Like, what does her communication look like at this point?
She can ask for a lot of things. Like, I haven't counted the words in like a long time, because the device is pretty advanced. It's this Dynavox device, so it has its own whatever software, and you can download whatever you want, and every day I think we add like 10, 20, 50 words to it, and the file has become really large now. So she can ask for activity, she can ask for food, she can ask for, hugs, and, she can ask for a break. So she understands these concepts, which I really knew would be hard. She still can express her feelings. So I think that's kind of it's so hard. Like, how do you express, there's a word for how you feel. Like, I don't know how to make that connection for her, but I'm sure she'll figure it out. Like, she's come so far. I don't think she'll have a hard time getting that too, but that's where we're at. So the device goes everywhere, and she's very, very,
it's her words, it's her, that's part of who she is.
It's like a mouth. It's
that's amazing.
part of her. So.
That's incredible. I think, so it's a myth within ABA. Sometimes, it's like we only use food to motivate kids and whatnot. But here you have Maya, who started with whatever she was into, whatever that is for her. Okay, the Doritos. But now look at that door opened, wide open to so many things that you lost track of. Can you imagine ever saying that to yourself?
No.
When she was 7 months old, or throughout that journey of diagnosis, that now you're like, I can't even keep track of the number of words that she has now. This is remarkable.
I remember the diagnosis, like, I was like, okay, that's it. Like, I'm just gonna be her words for the rest of my life. That's what I thought. The way the diagnosis was given to me, I never, there was no hope, as per the diagnosis, that she could have her own words, and now she does. So it's huge. It's
huge. Like, that's it. Her life, that journey, that path, at that moment, when she looked for that binder in her little bag, that it was like a major fork in the road for her. And what came after that is just
for you.
Yes.
Now I'm encouraged. I'm just put onto the stage where I'm like, let's go, let's
Yeah.
do more, because
Yeah.
until you kind of, as human beings, you need that feedback, right? That you need to achieve at least small things for you to keep going. Otherwise, you kind of get demoted and, stop trying.
Yeah.
So it's her. She showed me little things that she can do, and it just encouraged me to do more.
This,
Yeah.
I hope there are professionals watching this, hearing this. This is huge for professionals to hear, because often we are, and rightly so, we're focused on child and how they're doing and their skills, but the feedback that parents get or any family members get, right, through the successes, it feeds it both ways, right? It helps Maya keep going, it helps Reshma keep going, it helps whole family keep going, right? That this is key. It's not just the child experiencing successes, but as a family unit, experiencing those connections together. That was not just a Maya moment.
No.
That was a mommy Maya moment, right?
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing, amazing. So you also mentioned that Maya's been connected with lots of different professionals, right? Based on her needs. You mentioned like muscle tone, core, she's got to work on that.
She did the OT, PT, speech therapy. We also did floor model for a little while.
Yeah. So you've had lots of different professionals involved. So as mom, kind of, I don't know, you're, organizing, coordinating, you're case coordinator extraordinaire. How did you work together with all the different professionals? Did any of the professionals intersect with each other? How did that all work to make it work for Maya?
It didn't. In the beginning, it was just me coordinating between the professionals. Thankfully, at Kayla's right now, they all work at the same place, so they all coordinate, and it's amazing. I love it.
Yeah.
I could step back, But in the beginning, yes, I had to take notes from here, and sometimes I just used to request the speech therapist, can you please talk to the ABA therapist and give some consent forms, sign some forms, and they could talk to each other. But they would do it once in a while, right? So you still have to be the mediator, kind of. It's just how the outside world is set up. So if you're in a center or a place where everything is under the same roof, then it's amazing.
Yeah.
But not a lot of places like that exist.
Yeah.
So you kind of have to do it yourself.
Yeah, you got to make it work.
Yeah.
But I hope people hear too, there's opportunity for professionals to work together, right?
Yes,
And it's really important. For kids like Maya, she's got a variety of needs, right? And it's our job as professionals to figure out how to work together for the best interest of the child.
You could, the important information could get lost in translation, because as a parent, even though you get your child, you don't understand the technical terms as well. After being in the world for a while, you get it. But then in the beginning, it was all rocket science. It was so hard for me to understand what this term meant and what that meant, and I could take as much as I understood to the other professional, but if they talked to each other, it would have made a world of difference.
Huge difference.
In my life.
Yeah, and I mean, you're already doing so much, right? There's only so much you can manage and case coordinate and everything else and be a mom.
I wasn't working then, so I was just a stay-at-home mom, getting this sorted, for forever.
It's a full-time job.
I only started working last year. It took me that long. After I found the current school, that's when I could step back and say, okay, now she's in the place where they just do it all themselves, and I can step back.
Yes.
So
this is another aspect I don't know if everybody fully appreciates, is that absolutely treatment is important for the child, in this case for Maya, but for any of the kids to be able to live their best lives. And there's so much benefit there. But also when kids are in a good place and they're learning and growing and things are going on the right direction, it enables so much more for the families. I hear so many stories of parents, especially not only, but a lot of moms, sometimes dads too, but a lot of moms who walked away from careers. It's just impossible. You can't. What you're doing for your daughter is a full-time job in itself, right? But now look at, she's in a place, things are moving, and you were able to return back to the workplace. At what point did you know, okay, now I can get back there? And
about 4 to 6 months after we moved to Kayla's, and to just say, okay, she's in a place where everybody talks to each other. Like if I sign up for, physiotherapy, they will talk to the, the clinic, the ABA clinic, and coordinate all of the plans, and whatever they come up with, the ABA therapist will also follow it. So it was, once I started seeing it happen without my interference, I just could step back and say, I have all this time. What am I going to do with myself? Maybe I should get back to working. And now I do a full-time job, and I still have to stagger it, so I can drop her off, pick up, and then work again in the evenings. I do that, but I can.
Yeah.
All of a sudden I can, after so many years of just not being able to work, like 8 years.
Wow.
I can work again.
What does that mean to you to get to this point?
So amazing, because you kind of just take on one role. You're a full-time mom and you don't have time for yourself. It's an amazing job. Being a mom is an amazing job. The feedback that you get from your kid, the love and the progress that you see, all of that is amazing. You could still do that, and if you can also have a career, like be able to do something outside of it, that kind of like finishes you, like it makes you whole again. It's that part that was missing for so long, and once I was able to do that again, I was complete again. Like I became a happier person. I was always kind of happy, but it made me happier. So
we're not like one-dimensional, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You're not. I mean, it's an important. Yes, you are Maya's mom. I always think it's funny, right? Like once you have kids, I've got 2 kids of my own. Like you sometimes you lose your name, right?
Exactly.
I'm Leo's mom. I'm Sienna's mom. And yes, I am. Yeah. But you also have a name too.
Yeah.
It's Reshma.
Exactly.
And there's other aspects to your life that you were able to actualize. For a while it was missing, and now you're at a point where
it's
you get that back. And
there were times where I was upset about it, but again, when you see how far your child has come because you made that sacrifice, it's okay. It doesn't make it horrible, and now I can go back and do something else. So it's great. And I tell this to the school too. Like there are times that I start talking and I get emotional, and I'm like, you have no idea what a difference you've made to my life. Forget Maya's life, like to my life. Like what you've done, how it's made my life so much better. Like I sleep better, I'm a happier person, and this is you guys, it's thanks to you guys.
Absolutely.
So
that's huge. It's such a huge message that treatment, intervention, therapy, whatever you want to call it, yes, absolutely, it's about the child, but it's also, it impacts the family.
100%.
Right?
Yeah.
It's just, it's a really, an important take-home piece. What do you want the world to know about Maya?
So much. She's got a lot of like happiness to give. She's got a lot of love to give. And I think you can learn a lot from her. Like how she is, you can learn what resilience looks like, what, fighting for things looks like, and what overcoming the odds looks like. And that is, I think, a huge lesson. And I pick it up from her. And wherever I am at, I think it's because of her. Like how far I've come in my own personal life, it's because of her. So I think you can learn that from Maya.
That's so beautiful. That's a beautiful gift to the world. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, going through this journey, what do you want other parents to know that may help them, with their own journeys that they're experiencing?
Don't take it slow. Like, there's no hurry. Like, some people, they get the diagnosis and like, okay, what next? Then take a moment to process it. Like if I hadn't gone through being sad and being upset and depressed and all of those things, I don't think I would have been able to stand back up strong and go forward. I feel like it would have hit me later on, and I would have had more ups and downs instead of just a down and then up, you know. So I feel like it's okay to be sad and whatever. Just take a moment, take a breather, you know, and take breathers whenever you need them. Like, take those breaks. It's really necessary. You know, go out and, you know, mingle with your friends. Make time for yourself, because it can take a lot. This journey can take a lot out of you, and if you don't replenish it, like go out and get the fill back up from outside, it's gonna be harder, a lot harder, and it doesn't have to be. So
those are good. Sometimes, you know, it might take a while to even get there, right? You know,
but that's okay.
I hear from a lot of parents, it's there. You know, first priority is your kids, of course, right? But it's also okay to take care of you, right? And
but
in fact,
your kids are not going to get you if you don't take care of yourself.
Exactly.
So.
Absolutely. That's very good sound advice for all those that are, you know, getting on the journey or even throughout the journey. Sometimes we forget, you know.
You need a reminder.
Yeah. Sometimes you get so wrapped up in one thing or another, and you forget that you're still a human being yourself, and you know, it's okay to take some time for you too. That's really, really important for people to hear. Absolutely. So, last question.
Okay.
Where do you hope? What are your hopes for next steps for Maya? Where would you like her to go now in her journey, and hope where she can be?
My ultimate goal has always been independence, like as much as possible. Of course, I'm gonna be there for everything that she needs, and I'm gonna make arrangements for if I'm not there or whatever situation. But as independent as she is, I think she's happy that she has some independence now, but I want it to, you know, progress, and I hope that she remains this happy and lively for the rest of her life. Like, I want that smile to just stay there.
I love it. Yes, absolutely. I really love that independence is at the core of what's driving you to help support Maya. That, you know, her being able to learn and grow, and you know, it is I think it's not just about her being able to do the things, but it's a sense of dignity and pride, and her being able to do things in the world, even though we always want our kids to need their mama, right? But you know, it's also it's such a huge thing, because I think sometimes, you know, when I talk to families, like, yes, absolutely, communication, some academics, you know, writing, all these, absolutely. I'm not, you know, social for sure. But if you don't have if you can't put that jacket on yourself, or you can't use the bathroom by yourself, everything else, you know, is sort of like secondary to that, right?
Exactly,
So it's amazing that you have that perspective. And, you know, the smile, I'm sure it's what says it all. You know, keep smiling and happiness. Absolutely. That's
sure.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you for sharing your story with us today.
For, you know, taking me through the process. Like, you don't think about all these things for a while. So thank you for reminding me of all the good things again.
Beautiful. Well, I'm so happy that we got to share it with people. I have no doubt that this will really resonate with so many parents and families and professionals out there. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for taking time. It's great to be here with you.
Okay. Thank
you.